Okay, so I will, we're going to continue with arrays. We still have um, some more things to see with arrays. Okay, so I hope you guys understand what arrays are right now. All right, so let's start with creating a class. Creating a class, and let us name the class continue statement. So we're going to see the continue statement. Okay. So have you ever, guys, have you ever heard about this statement? The continue statement? Never? Continuous is very commonly used in for loops, very commonly used. And what a continue does, when you put a continue statement, actually what you're doing is jump into the next iteration. Okay. Let's say if you see if the number is greater than 5, continue. It means go to the next iteration. Do not continue iterating, go to the next iteration. So if I equals 0 at that time, then you're gonna go and I is gonna equal 1. So that's what continuous does. Okay. So let's see in an example so you guys can understand it better. So let's create an array of animals, right? And we're gonna declare the animals. So let's say dog, right? Let's say dog, right? Let's say cat, right? And let me use double quotations. Cat. We use lizard. We use bird. We use snake, right? So we have an array of strings. And in this case, we have an array of animals. Okay? So let me say this. You know, guys, that it's pretty easy to print this guy, right? So you can say for string animal in animals, sorry, a second, animals, and then you can just print animal. So I was going to say print animal. So it's pretty easy to print this, right? If I run this guy, I get a list of animals here. So it's super easy to print that. Another way, which we learned already, is to just sys out. If we do this, guys, remember, what do we get? What do we get if you do this? Remember? Remember what we get here? When I print this guy? Remember this strange thing? Right? Guys, you here?
Yes.
So what is the way to eliminate this guy here and to be able to print the array? How can we print an array this way? You have no idea? Remember using the class arrays, right? And then to string, remember? And then we can print that in a horizontal way, remember? Okay, so that is a way to print the array, okay? So this will return this, okay? So this returns this, right? Okay. Right? So that returns this. We have to use the arrays that to string animals to be able to print that. Okay? Now, There's something called in Java, something called labels. Have you heard about labels, guys? Labels? It's a pretty new concept in Java. So I can say this. I'm sorry?
I said no.
Okay. So I can say my loop, right? I hear inside something. Okay. So now I say for, right? And I say string animal, animals. Okay. Now this guy's unused label. Okay. It's unused, so I'm going to give you a warning, but it doesn't mean there's an error. Okay. So the label for this for loop is my loop. Okay. Whenever you refer to this label, it's going to refer to this loop. Okay. So I can say now, if animal dot equals cat, then we can do an operation here. Okay. So I can say continue my loop. Okay. Which is unnecessary here. Okay. So it says here, continue this area at the last time in the loop. Okay. So basically, we're telling Java to continue this. But remember, like I said before, when you use continue, right, it's going to jump to the next iteration. So if I say now here, sysout animal, guess what's not going to be printed? If you follow what it says here, and you know that continue will jump to the next iteration, what do you think is going to happen when we print animal? Which one is going to be ignored?
Dog.
Dog? Are you sure?
So everything after the cat, and we'll start a dog again?
Correct. So if it equals cat, jump to the next iteration. It means it's not going to print cat. Remember, the iteration ends here. Okay? This is just the if statement. This is part of the for loop, right? So it's coming here, say, if it is cat, then jump to the next iteration. Don't even get here. Don't even get here. Jump to the next iteration, right? And then when it comes here, and the second one is, the first one is dog, right? So it prints dog here. When it comes again, and it says cat, it is just ignores cat because cat is equal to the object at that time. So cat is here, right? Then it doesn't print this. It doesn't print cat. It goes to the next iteration and it says lizard. So lizard is not equal to cat. This is not executed because this is false, right? And then it prints lizard. It comes back, an animal is equal to cat. No, because it's bird. Okay, so it's gonna print bird. Again, next time, next iteration. So it says if animal equals cat, then continue. No, it's snake. So it's jumps here, and then it prints the snake. Okay, so continue. What it does is ignore whatever is after that and jump to the next iteration. That's what you're doing. Okay, we can have another example, and we can say another label. Okay, and we can say for string animal. In animals, I can say if animal equals cat, then continue animal, right? And then we can print here animal. Okay, so we have a different label, different name. You can put any name you want, right? And then we should get the same result. Okay, so we print here, we get the same thing, right?
What if you put this inside the curly bracket? System out, sys out.
This one?
Yeah,
executed When it's
Inside.
false, it would not be executed. You know, after continue, this code is unreachable. It means that if this becomes true, you will never get here. That's why you get an error. It says unreachable statement.
Oh, okay.
We'll stop all the cycle here, right? And go to the next iteration. Anything after continue, it will give you an error because it's unreachable code. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So anything after continue cannot be reached. Okay, it's like everything stops here, and then you go to the next iteration. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do another one, but now we're not gonna use a label. Okay, so it says string animal in animals, right? If animal equals lizard, right? Or animal equals cat, then we say continue. Guys, what do you think is going to happen now?
Cat and lizard will not print. Lizard and cat will not be print.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So let me put some delimiters here so you guys can understand it. So let's say this out here. Let me say printing array. Okay. And here I'm going to put some, probably some maybe stars here, so we can know the difference between all of them. Okay. So this one is printing, this is out, printing everything but cat. Okay. And then I just put the delimiter here. And then I can say here, this is out, printing everything but cat, right? And then the limiter here. And then I can say printing everything but lizard and cat, right? And then I can put the limiter here, right? So let's print it. See? Here we're printing the everything by cat. Here we're printing everything by cat. Here we're printing everything but lizard and cat. As you can see, they're not there. Okay? You guys get it? Yes? Maybe?
Yes, yes. CC.
CC? Okay, so we say index int index equals 0. And then we say while index less than animal, the length, okay, you know the length of that array, right? Which is what? What is the length of the array here? What's the length of the array? Guys, what's the length of the array? No
5.
answer? No answer?
5.
5 is the length of the array. You know, the length is the amount of elements in the array. Okay? So that will be 5. Okay? So we say string animal equals animals index. Right? We're just assigning that index, which is 0, and that element is dog, right, is the 0 element of the array, and then we're assigning that to animal. And then we can say index plus plus. Okay, we are incrementing this index because when we loop, we want to increment that index, so this can vary, right? And we can have this, you know, dynamic, like incrementing by 1. 0 is dog, 1 is cat, lizard is 2, bird is 3, and snake is 4. Okay, so now we can say if animal equals lizard, then we can say continue, right? And then outside the if statement, I can say sysal animal. Okay, so remember that animal here is not an object anymore. Or actually is an object of the class string, but it's a string, right? And that particular element of the array is being assigned to animal, and then animal is going to be printed here. Okay, but don't forget that whenever you see this guy, it will just go to the next iteration. Okay, so this should be something like this. Okay, so we're printing everything except lizard. Okay, got it?
Mm-hmm. Same thing in a different way.
Okay, so we are basically doing basically the same as this, but instead of using a for loop, we're using a while loop. Okay, and we are incrementing the index. So we just say while index is less than 5, which is the length of the animal's array, which is here. You see, it's 5. While the index is less than 5, then that animal in that particular position 0 is going to be assigned to this animal, and then the index is going to be incremented, and we compare the animal that we have here with a lizard. If it is a lizard, continue to the next iteration. If it is not a lizard, just jump here and print it. Okay, so this is a stop sign here. Okay, just in case something matches. There's a match between animal and lizard. Okay, so you guys understand the continue statement?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the structure of the continue statement. Okay. So we have an optional label. We put here, that was this guy here, right? My loop is optional. We don't need it. And in fact, we hadn't seen it until now. So we used for loops before, and we never use this. So this is optional. Okay. And we have the column. The column is right here, right? After the label. Require if optional label is specified. So this is required if you specify the optional label. Then the while loop, the body, and then continue keyword, and the semicolon require. So that's the continue statement. Okay. So guys, whenever you want to jump to the next iteration, use the word continue, and that's it. You got it. You got it. It's that easy. Okay. So I'm going to put here continue statement. Will force code jump to next iteration in the loop. Okay. Good. Now, let's talk about sorting arrays. Okay. How to sort an array, how to make an array order alphabetically or just by sequentially, right? Sorting arrays. Okay. So we have this guy here, int, and then numbers, right? And then we can have 5, 10, and 2. Okay? There's an easy way to sort that by just using the class sort, the class array, and just passing the numbers array. Okay? So that could be a way. Okay? You see? That could be a way. Now, if I do this, guys, what is the way to print an array and not have a strange object? What is the way? You know that this doesn't work. Okay? If we do this, we get a strange thing. Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I have to run this. So we get this strange thing. We have the object. What is the thing that we did in the other program?
Pass arrays string.
Arrays.
Using the class array, right? And then the method to print, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can get something more humanly readable, right? Okay? But see that the array now is sorted. You see 2, 5, 10, it was 5, 10, 2. Okay? So we can say here, maybe we can say sys out, right? Sys out and say array or unsorted array, and then I can do this, right? And then I can say here sorted array, right? And then we get this guy, okay? And then we get the different arrays here, okay? One is sorted and the other one is not, okay? Another way to print, and we already know about these guys, is int I equals 0, and then I less than the numbers array, right? Length, and then I this, right? And now we say sys out numbers I, and then we put a space here to make it a little more beautiful. Okay. So I have now this beautiful thing here, right? And the good thing about this way is that we don't get these square brackets here that we get with the simple arrays that's to string. Okay, so it's a little bit better. Now I can just do it another way, right? And instead of using ln, I can use just print, and it would give me the numbers next to each other. Okay, that's gonna be a little better to get it this way. Okay, because I'm not using ln, which is next line, right? And then it's gonna put them one next to the other. Okay, good. All right, understanding? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. We have another string here, array. We can say strings, just the name. And then we can say 50. We can say 50. And then 9. And then 500. Guys, at these numbers,
No, because they're in the strings, so they're not integers because of the
They are strings.
They're numbers, right? They're numbers, right?
They are strings.
Okay, so I can sort this array as well. Say sort, right? And say strings. Okay? And now I can say sysout arrays to string, and then I can say strings. Let's see what happens. You see? It doesn't, it doesn't do that because those are strings, right? But remember, 5, 5, 9. You see? This 5, it's the F is before 9. Okay? Now, can I convert this to integers? Can I convert this to integers?
Yes.
Can I do this?
No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can do that because you don't have any numbers defined.
Right. And what if I do this? What if I do this? What do you think? So what do you think? Do you think it might work?
Yes.
It should work, right?
Not sure.
So we're getting this. Oh, because I forgot to increment the index. Okay. Now we should get 500, 9, and 500. So now I'm gonna, you see guys, how I did this? Okay. So now I have these guys here. Why? Well, let me explain to you. I have the array here, and the way that you convert a number, a string to a number, is by using the wrapper class integer and then the parse int, which is convert to an int, and then this, right? The number. If I just is out num, I can say this is the converted number, right? And then I can say this and this. You guys can see that this is the converted number right here, 500. I just convert a string to an integer, okay, by using this parse int structure, right? So I'm just having a string of arrays 59 and 500. What I have to do is just create a new array with the size 3, because I have 3 numbers here, right? Or I can simply say this to make it a little more dynamic. So I can say string length, right? Just in case I have here 600, maybe 600, okay, and 800. Okay, so I'm gonna have this guy, the string length here is 5, right? So it's gonna create an array of 5 numbers. Okay, so we have here the 5 numbers here. Okay, it's gonna come here index equals 0, right? It's gonna say for every string in the strings array, which is this one, I want you to parse every single number, every single array. So string, this string here is gonna be this one. Guys, when you declare this variable here, this string is each string here, okay? So it's gonna come with the first one. And then this string is gonna be parsed to this number. The number is gonna be assigned to this new array of numbers, right? Index is gonna be 0. So the first one is gonna be 50, like you said here, like you see here, right? But it's gonna be parsed already because this parses the string into a number, into an integer, okay? So index is gonna be increment, is gonna go back to the next iteration, and then string here is gonna be 9. It's gonna parse 9 into a number. It's gonna come here and say index is gonna be 1, right? And then it's gonna say, well, assign num, which is 9, to the next element in the array. That's gonna be number 2, which is position 1. Remember, the index is length minus 1, okay? So it's gonna increment this to 2. It's gonna come back here, say the next string in the string array is gonna be 500, parse that 500 string into a number, which is gonna be 500, and then that number, assign it to the element with position 2, which is this one, 0, 1, 2, and then increment that and so on and so forth. And when you see, you have an entire array of numbers from this array of strings. So you guys see it?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Finally, I have been babbling to myself.
Yes. We did it before. Yes.
Okay.
You have any
I
question?
understand. No, I understand it.
Good thing. Okay. So we can continue. Nice. We're done with this part here, sorting arrays. It's very simple with the arrays.sort method. Just invoke.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
When you sort it, is it going to change the location, the index location of that particular item in the array?
As you see here, the output.
Yeah, so you have 5 and 2. That's the original array in that format that was created.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do a sorted array, 2, 5, 10 is index 0, index 1, and 2.
Correct.
Changed.
Yes. But
it will change it.
But it doesn't persist. So when you run the program again, array is gonna be, like it is declared here. Same thing. Okay? It doesn't persist. It changes it in the program as it runs, but it will not persist. So the next time when you run the program, it's gonna be the same. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand. But within this within this package that you created, this PSBM, if I continue using, what's the name of the array?
If you continue using it, it's gonna be.
So if you continue using it, it's gonna be 2, 5, 10 with index 0, 1, 2, correct?
Correct. Whenever you call that array after it's been sorted, it's gonna be that. So if I do it again, if I do it here again. is going to be sorted.
Can you print out the index number?
The index numbers?
Yes.
Okay, so you want sysout numbers 0, but you already see it here. It's gonna be 2. Okay, you do the same here. This is already telling you what's gonna happen. Okay. It's been sorted, so it affects the array. And
the
whenever
location in the index, yeah.
Correct. Whenever you use that after it's been sorted, that's going to be there forever until you run the program again.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So that's going to affect the array entirely. It will not change the original array before then, okay? Because when you run the program again, it's going to be the same. Because remember.
So it's. I have another question. Sort is only for arrays with numbers. Does it work so with strings?
No. You can do it with. Let me see if I have an array of. Maybe if I do this.
The previous one that you had on the dog, cat, lizard.
Let me copy that one.
Uh-huh.
It's a little unpredictable here.
You haven't sorted it yet.
Yeah. Oh, right. I saw that.
It's okay.
So I thought that I put sort. Yeah, I know. I have to sort it here, and then print it again, and then print it. There you go. Yeah, it sorts it in alphabetical order as well.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it will sort the array. Okay.
Pretty powerful.
Beautiful. All right. So let's do some search and array. Okay. And for that, we're gonna use the binary search method that arrays have. Okay. So searching arrays. Okay. So I have this array of integers, and then the name of the array is numbers. So I'm gonna have this guy. And by the way, guys, this is an anonymous array. Don't forget that. This is an anonymous array, because usually arrays are like this, right? Right? Arrays are like that, okay? But this is an anonymous array because we're not putting any size here or anything. We're just putting the values directly. Okay, so we have an array here. Now let's do some sysout. Let's use the array's binary search, and then we're gonna say the first element argument that it takes is the array, and then we're looking for the number 2. Okay, so let's see what it returns. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so we get -2. Okay, so when the number is not in the list, it will return a negative number. Don't ask me what number returns. is random. What I know is that the smallest number is -1. Okay, so it returns -2. Okay, it means that it does not exist. Okay, when it returns a negative number with minimum 1, it means that the number doesn't exist. Okay, so that's what it does. And we're gonna see how unpredictable a number is when we test other numbers. Okay, so now we're gonna look for the number 5, and what index does the number 5 have? What is the index of that number?
2.
2. There you go. Okay. So we can say numbers 2 we can say numbers 2 has index this is absolutely incorrect. It has to be here. Okay. 5 has index 2. Okay. Good. So we can do another one. And now we can do 7. Okay. I'm gonna remove this guy. So in that case, if 5 has index 2, then it means that 7 has index 4, right? So we get this, and we get that number 7 here. I'm sorry. We look for 7, and then we get index 4. Okay. Now we can do the same with index 1, number 1, I'm sorry. And then we get number 0. Okay. And then we can do this guy here, and then we can do another one, and now it's going to look for number 3. Right? Then number 3 has number 1. Right? And now we can look for number 6. Right? And then number 6 has index 3. And then we can look for number 4, and 4 doesn't exist, so it will return a negative number. As you can see, it returns -3. Okay. Now, if I do another one that says, I say number 10, right? I get a negative number, and in this case, it's -6. So you can see it's pretty weird, the number that it returns, because, I mean, number 4 is -3, and then number 10 should be, if the logic is here, it should be probably -9, because the difference between 4 and 10 is 6. The difference between 3 and -9 is 6. But it just returns -6. If I put here 11, it returns -6 too. So it's very unpredictable. Okay? But what we have to know, guys, is that it returns a negative number when -1 is the smallest number, right? And that means that the number doesn't exist in the array, right? If it returns a positive number, that's the index where that number is, okay? Let's have another array, right? But this time, is not going to be sorted. Say int, as you can see, this one is sorted. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Let's use another one. Say not sorted numbers. Okay. And let's say 5, 4, 10, 8, 6. Okay. Sys out arrays to string not sorted array. Okay. So we get this, right? We get this like just exactly as it is here, right? That's the way to print an array in the same line without a for loop, okay? Using the arrays class, the string method, and then passing the array to that method, all right? Now let's do this. Arrays, binary search, and then we're gonna just put the array we're working with, and we're gonna look with number 5. And then we get 0. Okay, so that's a good thing, right? And then I can do this and say number 8. And then we get -3. So guys, what's going on here? What's going on here? Why do I get -3 if 8 exists already? Do you have an idea? Why am I getting, if here all these numbers existed, like 1, 3, 7, you know, these guys existed, and I get an index of that number. Why am I getting 0 or -3 when I'm putting 8 here, and 8 has index 3?
Because the array is not sorted.
Correct. The only way that this method, binary search, works efficiently and well is by sorting the array first. Okay? In this case, it's already sorted. We don't have any problem. But if I sort this guy and I say arrays, sort, and then not sorted array, right? Then when I run this, I get that 8 has index 3. Okay? So, guys, take away here. With the binary search method, if the array is not sorted either intentionally here, like we did here, or by using the sort method, the array will not work efficiently and will not find that number because it's not sorted. Okay? So here we get a -3. And then we can continue and get all the numbers that we want because it's already sorted. Okay? And we get here 4. But what if I just comment this out and I run it and I get number 10? It's going to be 2. Good. That's good. But this is very bad. Okay? What if I do 6 now? -3, you know, because it's crazy. I mean, you have 5, 4, 10, and then 8, 6. It's super crazy. So negative numbers you get when the array is not sorted. So now here, if the array is sorted, then we get the perfect numbers here. Okay. 1, 3, 4, and 2. Yeah, because it's sorted. Okay, so let me print the array sorted. Okay, and I say arrays, and then to string, and then we say not sorted. Okay, and now we can see that they are different, right? And I printed it 2 times. Why? Oh, because I printed here. Okay, so I printed here, and I'm going to have 2, 6 is number 2, like you see here, and then 8 is number 3, you see here, and 10 is number 4. Perfect. Okay. So you guys understand the binary search method? Okay, in the exam, be careful. When you see this guy here, okay, then they give you set results. If the array is not sorted and there's a negative number in that list of answers, that's the answer. It has to be sorted for this method to work. Okay, and print the index number of that number, element of the array. Okay. Good. No questions? Okay. So let's see something else. Let's see now the variable arguments. Variable arguments. Okay. Okay. So I can say here system out and then say args length. Okay. And of course, I don't have any arguments here. So, sorry. I get 0. Okay. Because I have to come here, I think, and here in the arguments, I have to put, for example, Dunieski, Otano, Ramos. Okay, I have 3 arguments here, 1, 2, and 3, 0, 1, 2. Okay, it's an array of arguments. Okay, so I apply this. Okay, remember this is an array of arguments. So now if I print this, I get 3, right? And if I just do sysout, right? Sysout, and I say arrays to string, and then I say args, then I'm gonna get the 3 guys that I added, right? Dunieski, Otano, Ramos. So this is what always, probably guys, you see this in the main method, like we saw before, and we never, considered this or stopped this to, probably, I think I did in the first day of class, that we stopped to analyze this guy, okay? The arguments that come here, okay? And you can find them here in the auto configuration here, the program arguments, okay? So that's the length of those guys. It's just 3. Okay. So let me comment this guy out. Okay. And let me create another public static, right? Void main method. But this time I'm gonna use something called vararg parameters. Vararg parameters, which is this. Okay. Guys, what is the meaning of this? It means that it will accept any parameters, doesn't matter how many you're sending, any number of parameters. You can send 0, you can send 1, you can send 3, you can send as many as you want. Okay, that's what it means. Okay. So now if I do this, right, args that length, okay, so we get 3 again, okay, because we have, 3 parameters, okay? I added that before. But let's do a test here, okay? Let me create a method, and I can say, let me just make it private because it's only for this class, static, void, and then print. Let me call it print. String. And then let me call this my arguments. Okay. Okay. Now let me just say sys out, right? Arrays to string my arguments. Okay, perfect. Right? Now let's just invoke that method now. Okay, let's invoke the method without anything. Like I said, it can accept any type of parameters. Okay, let's invoke that method with args. Okay. Let's invoke that method with Java. Let's call it again. And now we're going to say, this is my string array. Let's call it again and say variable arguments are nice and useful feature. Okay, nice. So let's run it. So we're calling this method here, private method, right? And we're passing no parameters, args, which is 3, Dunia Ramo. We're passing Java, we're passing different. So the good thing about this guy here is that you're passing arrays. Here you're passing an empty array in this guy here. You're passing here another array of 3 elements. You're passing here an array of 1 element. So this makes this parameter here very, very, very flexible, because you can receive as many as you want. The number of parameters that you want. It could be 0, it could be 20. That doesn't matter. Okay? So you can call a method and pass as many parameters as you want. Okay? I can pass another number, right? I can say integer num, right? But I have to put num here, 5, right? I can put here, say 5. Oh, this is empty. Yeah, we get that. And we're getting a 6 here. Probably have to put something inside here. Let me test it with probably high, and then this. Okay. Required type string, and I provided a string. What is the meaning of that? Okay. Okay. All right. Let me just leave it the way it was. I don't want to stop in that now. My point here is the following. Okay. This is my point. Okay. Let me just show you my point here. Okay. My point is the following. That whenever you have 2 arguments, this one cannot be the first one. Okay. If I do this, I'm gonna get an error very clearly. It's gonna tell me if I hover it, var arg parameter must be the last in the list. Okay, that is why I was getting this guy. You know, if I do this now, then I can do this guy and I can put a number, you know, like the number here. See? Okay, and then I can put a number. You see? Now it works because I'm accepting this guy here. Right? Now, if I print this, I get the number here, all the numbers that I put here. Now, guys, this guy here, the var arg parameter, cannot be the first one. It will always be the last. Again, I can put it here and say comma, and I'll get an arrow. It's an evident arrow here. Var arg parameter must be the last in the list. Okay, so let me put it back to the first place. Okay, and then it works perfectly. Okay, you guys see it? And this is what? This is a var arg parameters. Okay. Okay. Put here var arg parameters are always the last in the list. So guys, if you want to make your parameters more flexible, like accepting any type of parameters, use the ... notation here, and then you can receive as many as you want, like maybe 0. There's nothing here after 5, maybe 3, maybe 1, maybe 7, 11, 10, as many as you want. Okay, with this guy ... Okay. Got it? If I put here this, it doesn't work, tells me that it has to be the last. So basically, you can have 2 var args or var arg parameters in the same method. You can't, because it will always tell you that it cannot be the first. It has to be the last. Okay. Good. Any questions? No questions?
So does it treat that as an array? Is that?
Yeah, it's an array.
So it is a type of array.
Yeah, you see how you print it as an array?
Uh-huh.
It's an array. But it accepts any kind of parameters here in the parameter section. Any number of parameters. It could be 1 string, it could be 20 strings, it could be an empty string. In this case, it's an empty string. We're not getting any string here. We're getting this number here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Any number of strings. You can do the same with numbers. Okay? The same with numbers like this. But we cannot have 2 at the same time. 2 different var args here. Always gonna get an error telling me that it is always the last one in the list. Must be the last in the list, you see? Okay, so we're done with this one. That's the verb arguments. We're gonna do another one, and then we're gonna get a little more complex thing with the multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, a little more complicated here. Okay. Right. And we're about to break for 10 minutes. It's 6:38. Okay. So now we can see int array. So my array. So just a one-dimensional array has only square brackets only one time. Okay, close, open square brackets, close square brackets only one time. Okay, so that's typical of the one-dimension arrays. Okay, so we have here just 0 and 1. It's a simple array, right, of two numbers, right? So that's a one-dimensional array. It's also called 1D array. A 1D array. Right? We can also have something called a 2D array, and that's the one-dimensional array. Okay? That's the multi-dimensional array. That's what I was trying to say. So we have this guy, right? And then we're gonna name an array. But now we say new array. We have this number and this number. Okay, so guys, when we have an array that is one-dimensional, so I can say my new array. This is the length of the array, right? That's the length of the array. This number 5 is the length of the array. Now when we have 2, it's a little more confusing, right? But guys, what you need to understand is that 2 is the rows and 4 is the columns.
So it's a 2x4 matrix?
Correct. It's a matrix. So where 2 is the length of the array, always the rows are the length of the array. Okay? So if you do this, sys out array the length, let's see what happens. One moment, I have to run this guy. We get 2. You see? The rows, it's always the length of the array. Okay? So if you have to loop, you know, over this array, you always use this first number here for the length. Okay? Understand it?
Yep.
Let's have just another array, multi-dimensional array, right? And let's call it, now this way we're gonna do it a different way, another array, and then we're gonna do it here. I'm gonna say new array, new int, say 2 and 4. So guys, the same way to create another array that is the same thing as 2 and 4, but this time, instead of using the square brackets after int, you can use it here. It's the same thing. Still works, okay? It's the same thing. Okay? Is the same thing. You can do it this way too. You can say int, my int array, and then do it this way, equals new int 2 and 4. So why is this important to know the different ways to do the same thing? Because in the exam, they're gonna tell you, they're gonna ask you, what are valid ways to declare an array, a multi-dimensional array? So they may give you this, this, and this, and probably another one, and another one, another one, and you have to select all the ones that apply, right? This is a valid multi-dimensional array, this is a valid multi-dimensional array, and this is a valid multi-dimensional array. Okay? Let's declare a multi-dimensional array and let's give it some values. And this is gonna be a multi-dimensional array of strings. So we can say my 2D array, right? Let's say new string, right? And we're gonna say empty. And then we're gonna do this. Because that's another way to to declare an anonymous array. Okay, another way. Okay, so we're gonna say that the first row is going to have, you see here, guys, there is outer curly braces and there are inner curly braces. Okay, remember that just a normal array in 1D, it's only one curly braces, only one time. For a multidimensional array that has 2 dimensions, we have to use the outer one and then inner ones for each row. Okay, so we're gonna say that the first row is one, remember, it's arrays of strings, right? So 2, right? That will be the first one is separated by comma. See, that's the first row of that multidimensional array. By the way, guys, this is an array of an array. That's another way to say it. Okay, an array of an array. This is one array, but we're gonna have another array and another array, and that entire thing is a multidimensional array. Okay, so we say this 3, 4, and 5. So as you can see, the first row has 3 elements and the second row has 3. So there's no strict thing here. Remember, the arrays can have any length they want, right? And this is an array of array, right? We have an array here and we have another array here. Okay, now we can say here that this is the first row, right? First row with 2 elements. We can say here this is the second row with 3 elements, right? And we can say that this is the fourth row okay, with, sorry, third row with 4 elements. Okay, and then you can have here, if you want to, you can have null here. All right. If you want, you can have another element, which is null. Okay, perfect. Okay. So that's an array of arrays. Okay. Right? Guys, what if we want to print a specific element of that array? So we can say this out. I can say maybe array to string, and then I can say probably my 2 array, and we can say probably 0 and then 1. I don't think this accepts this. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to do that. I can do this. And if I do this, it's going to print 2. Why? Because we're saying, give me of the first row, right? That's 0. Remember that the first number is the row. Give me the first row, the first element, but the element is index 1. So here we have 0 and 1. Okay? That's why we're getting that number. Give me 0 of the first row, element in position number 1. This is 0 and this is number 1. Guys, if I want to print A, what could be the print here. If I want to print A, what could be the two numbers? If I want to print A.
Two.
Which one?
2.
Let's see. There you go. So this one prints 2. And this one prints 8. Okay, guys? So that is, you know, here, this guy, we have only one thing, just a flat thing like a row. Here we have rows and columns. That's why it's multidimensional. We have rows and columns. Okay? That's why it has 2 dimensions. We're going to see 3-dimensional array as well. Okay? Now let's have another array, right? Guys, before we continue, are you understanding? Are you understanding this? So I have 13 people in this classroom. Is anyone else here other than Maria understanding?
Understanding.
Okay. Okay. So let's declare another array here, number table, and new int. And by the way, an array that is a multidimensional array is a table because you have rows and columns. Okay. So let's create this. How many columns does this array have? How many columns?
3.
3 columns. How many rows?
2.
And what is the length of the array?
2.
Correct. Okay, guys. So let's break for 10 minutes. If you don't have any other questions, it's 6:50, right? And let's be back here at 7. How about that?
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys, let's continue. So we created an array, okay? And the array is number table. It has 2 rows and 3 columns. And now we're going to assign numbers to that, okay? So we say number 0 and 0 is gonna be 1, okay? And now we say number, and this one, 1 is gonna be 2. And then 1 is gonna be 3. Okay, now something may happen if I do this, right? If I do this, I get an error. Why do I get an error here? Because this is out of bounds. Okay, this is out of bounds. In the first row, you know, we only have 2 elements that say 3. Okay, so I would get out of bounds here. Okay, so this is out of bounds. And I will comment it out completely. So I can say here, if I do this out and I do this guy here, then if I print this, I get an exception here. It says array index out of bounds, right? That's what I get here, right? Remember that I have 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. This is out of bounds, okay? First row, column 1, 2, and 3. Remember, it starts with 0 all the time, okay? So this is out of bounds, okay? Now, so this is how we know how to print a multi-dimensional array, in this case, a 2D array, okay? Let's talk about 3D arrays, okay? That's a little more complicated, okay? A 3D array. All right, so we can think of an array as like a pages or a plane, right? Planes, and then rows and columns, okay? What could be an example of that? Well, an example of that could be an Excel sheet, okay? An Excel sheet is a multi-dimensional array, right? Where you have here a sheet, which is the page, right? And then inside the page, you have rows and columns, okay? That is a multi-dimensional array, a 3D array, okay? That's an example in daily life, right? You have here the page, and then you have inside the page, you have multi-dimensional arrays, okay? Another example could be probably one note here. So we have here a page, right? Like a section, and then you have multiple pages here. It's similar. You don't have columns and rows, but you have something inside something. Okay, so the best example is an Express sheet. It's the best example of that. Okay, so we have this, a 3D array. So we say 3 array, right? And we say new int. Now here, we can say 3, 3, and 3. And then we can say sysout 3 array length. Let's see what we get. We have 3, right? Let me change this for you guys to make it clear. All right. We still have 3 because that sheet there that is the length. And this is the column. I'm sorry, this is the row, and this is the column. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so we have 3 sheets, and every sheet we have 5 columns, and then 5 rows and 6 columns. Okay, so let me put it 3, 3, and 3, the way it was before. All right, so now we can say, we can just maybe add a value here. There's a 3-way, right? And then we can say in sheet 0, row 0, and first column, I want to add number 1. Okay, so that's how you do it. Okay, you see? Now, we can have another array, say 1 more 3 array, right? And then we can have the square brackets after, like we did before, right? It could be before the variable name or after the variable name, same thing. And then we can say new int, and then we have 3, 3, 3, same thing, okay? They're both valid array declarations. This one, another 3 array, okay, could be also valid. New int, see guys, just like we did before with the 2 D arrays, like 1 here and 1 here, or the 2 after, or the 2 before, you can do the same here. Okay, 3 before, 3 after, 1 here, and 1 here. Okay, see this one? And there you say 1, another, more. Okay, that's another one. As long as you have 3 here and 3 here, everything is okay. All right. Now, let's have some values in a 3D array. Okay, so I have int, right? Int, 3 square brackets, and let's say 3D array. And let's do this. Okay, so we have to have 1, and then another 1, and then we have the arrays. Okay, so we have the arrays like this. Okay, so I'm gonna put 3. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna have this. Right? Right? We're gonna have this, and then this, and then the semicolon here. Okay, that's gonna be your array, right? Like that. Remember with this one, what's only 1, you see? And then the 1 at the end. With this one is 2. 2 per array. Okay? And then the outer one here. Okay? So here we're gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. All right? That's gonna be the first array here. The second one is going to be 10, 11, and 12. The second one here is going to be 13, 14, 15. And then this one will be 16, 17, 18. This one is going to be 19, 20, and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Okay, that is a 3D array. Okay, so we have the first page here, right? That has 3 rows and 3 columns. That's what we see here, right? Similar, right? We have the second page that has 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it is the same here. So basically, this multi-dimensional array, this 3D array, is like this. Okay. So now, let's say that we want to print probably number 9. So we say 3D array, and then 0, which is here, 0 page, number 2 row, 0, 1, 2, right? And then the column is number 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, number 9. So if we print this, we get 0. What happened here? Zero doesn't even exist here.
You might have to run
Sorry, I'm calling another array. I'm calling this one. This one has this one. If I print this array, it is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 0, 0, 0, all of this. I have to do 3D array. All right, and now I get number 9. Okay, I was calling a different array. That's why. So why? We're coming to the page 0. This is 0. This is 1, and this is 2. Right? We're coming to the row 2. This is row number 1, and this is row number 2. Actually, but it's 0 based. Column row 0, row 1, row 2. This is this guy. Remember, it's 0 based. It begins by 1, 0, 1, 2. And then we're coming to the third element with position 2. 0, 1, 2. And then we get number 9. Guys, if we want to print number 24, what could be the code for that one? For number 24, what do you think? For number 24.
It will be 2.
It will be 2. What else?
1.
1, and then?
2.
There you go. So it comes to this the third. Remember that is 0 based, 0, 1, 2, but it's the third, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it comes to the third plane, right, or page, and then it goes to the first, which is the second row. 0, 1 is the second one right here, right, and then it comes to the third element of the row, which is the third column, right? This is 0, 1, 2. That's why you have 2 number here. Guys, if I want to print another person that is not Maria, if I want to print 18, what could be the indexes? If I want to print 18, if I want to print 18,
1,
1, what else?
2. Oh, sorry. Okay. 2.
2 and
2.
let's see what happens. 18, right? What if I want to print 11? Anyone can tell me if I want to print 11? Anyone that is not Dieva, that is not Maria? Maria, no Maria, no Dieva. Any other person? If I want to print 11.
Trying.
1,
0, and
0,
1.
and 1. Let's see what happens. Perfect. Okay. Guys, I see that you understand this. Okay. So what is going to happen in the test? They're going to give you an array. They're going to give you some code, and then they're going to tell you which one returns this code. And then you're going to see and be able to understand this, right? They may give you more columns, right? More columns. They will give you more rows, right? They give you more pages, okay? So that's how you do it, okay? Very good. That's all about, 3D arrays. We're gonna see how to print arrays like I did before, right? But for now, this is, just to understand them, okay? So let's have another one. Let's see nested loops, okay? Nested loops. Okay. All right. So we can see, for example, we can see just a simple for loop here. Say for int hours, right, equals 1. Hours is less or equal to 6, right? And then we say hours plus plus. Okay, so we can say now for int minutes, right, equals 0, and there's a minutes, right, less than 60 minutes plus plus. Now we can print system out hours plus this, and then plus minutes. All right. Now if I print this, we get all this. Okay. So we get all the hours from the first hour and the 0 minutes, and all the way to the second hour, and all the way to the third hour, and all the way to the end of the 6th hour. Okay, so this guy is looping 1, right? And this guy is looping 59 times, right? That's why you get hour 1 and minute 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 59, right? So in the first iteration, right, hours will be 1, right? And then minutes go all the way from 0 to 59. Now the second iteration, hours equals 2, and then minutes goes all the way from 0 to 59. Then the third iteration, then minutes go all the way from to 59. And then hours equals 4, minutes from 0 to 59. Okay, and then I'm gonna copy this. You get the 5th hour and the 6th hour. Okay? So that's how it is. So basically, it loops maybe 60 here, 60 times here, 60 times here, 60 times here. Why 60? Because I'm counting the hour as well. 60 times here, 60 times here, and then 60 times here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is gonna loop 420 times. All right, so this little thing here loops 420 times. Okay? With only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code, you saved 420 lines of code. Okay, good. That's, about nested loops. It's one inside the other. That's why it's called nested loops. Okay, the outer one loops 1, and then the inner one loops all the time, the 59 times. Then it goes back to the outer loop, loops another 1. That's why you get the hour 2, and then you loop 59 times. You go up again, and then you loop the 3rd time, and then 59 times again. And then you're gonna loop 420 times. Okay. So let me have an array here, because one of the most efficient ways to print an array is using a for loop. Okay, that's one of the best ways, right? So right now we're gonna loop through a multi-dimensional array. In this case, we're gonna loop through a 2D array. Okay, so I'm gonna say here that the first array is going to be 1, 2, and 3, right? And separated by comma. Don't forget that. And then the second array is going to be 4, 5, and 6, right? And then the third array is going to be 7, 8, and 9. Very simple. Don't forget to use the semicolon at the end. A very simple 3D array, okay? A 2D array, sorry. Now, if I can print this guy, right? My array, and then I'm gonna get a very strange thing. Okay, like we did before, right? But I can do what I have done before, just call the class array, entity string, and my array. Let's see what happens now. I get something even worse than this. Okay, why? Because this is a multi-dimensional array. This is not a 1D array. So when you do this, still you get something weird. So you get an object per array. Remember that when you print an array like this, you get the object of the array, right? Imagine if you print this array, you're gonna get 3 objects because you have 3 arrays inside this one. 1, 2, and 3. That's why you get these guys here. What you have to do is do a nested out loop. Okay, so a for loop. Sorry. So we say outer, right? I say for. Look at this. How interesting this is. So we say int row array, and my array. This is the array, the original array. right? So we just got one array out of the other one. So we're getting this guy from this array, okay? And then now we can do another for loop, and then we have the array, this array here, okay? So we can say for, and let's put it, let me use an inner label and say for int I 0, and then I less than this guy here, okay? Row array length, and then I plus plus, okay? And now I can say, give me every element of the multi-dimensional array. So we say this, I, and then plus this, okay? Now I can print the array. If I do this, I get this beautiful thing here, okay? But if I do this guy here, right, then I get this here. You see? I get all the elements of the array, right? Guys, I was thinking about doing something here. Maybe if I put this here, probably int row array, array. And then we do this. It's now valid in Java. Okay. Okay, so we continue the way it was before, and then I can print this guy here. Okay. All of the elements of the array. Okay. So I have to have an outer loop and an inner loop. Okay, the outer loop is going to turn the 2D array into an array. Okay, and then what we have to do is just loop through this array, and then we get all the elements. So we say every single array in the 2D array, then give it to me, and then I can use the length of that array, of each array here, this length here, and then print all of them. Okay, what if I do this? See? You get the elements as well. So no matter how many columns you have, right? Remember that we are not putting this fixed like this, like doing this int, like this. Okay. Array equals new int, and then we're doing this and probably this. Okay. We're not doing that. Okay. We're not putting any size here. It's dynamically, you know, like here, enter. We're not putting anything fixed here. Okay. So now I can have this guy and print it, and then we get these results. So guys, do you understand the nested loops?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So let's do another nested loop, but this time it's going to be a while loop. Okay, so we can say int x equals 10, right? And now we can say while x is greater than 5, right? We're going to do a do while. Remember do while? Remember, guys, when we saw a do while?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a nested loop. We have a do while inside a while. Okay, remember that a do, at least it lets this execute one time, at least, right? And this one has to have a condition for that to execute. In this case, x is greater than 5 because x is 10. So it will enter the loop because this is true. And then this one, no matter what, is going to execute one time, at least one time. So here we say x until it gets to this particular section when it becomes true or false. Okay, it continues to be true or it becomes false. Okay, so now we're gonna say x minus equals 1. Okay, guys, what is the equivalent of this? What is the equivalent of this?
Decrease x by 1.
What's the equivalent?
X minus 1. Oh, x minus minus.
Of this, right? Of this,
Yep.
right? Right? It's the same thing. Okay? But don't forget that this is a little different, right? Remember, this is use and then decrease, remember? So this is kind of different, okay? This is the same as this. Okay? So now outside this while loop, I'm gonna have this guy here. Right? And then down here, I'm gonna print x. Okay? Beautiful. So what should we get here? What should we get here? All right, let's see. So in the first iteration, it executes until x equals 5, right? Because this is true unless x equals 5, right? When x equals 5, it becomes false, right? 6 is greater than 5, 7 is greater than 5. Remember that x is going to be decremented by 1, okay? Decremented here, okay? That's going to be the first thing, first step, okay? The second one is that number 3, right? X becomes 3. And then the 5 time, X becomes 1. Okay? So it's going to come here, right? Right here, x equals 10, right? It comes here, and x is 9, right? And then here, 9 is greater than 5. It's going to come back here, and then x is going to be 8, and then like this until it becomes 5. Okay? Now, but don't forget that outside of this, there's another one, okay? That is incrementing here, right? So, outside this loop, the second time is going to be x minus minus. That's going to be x equals 4. Remember that when x equals 5, it x's this, right? It x's this, and then x becomes 4. Okay? Then, fourth time, x minus minus will become x equals 2. Okay? And then the other time, number 6, x minus minus, and then that becomes x equals 0. Okay? And that's why this guy here will print 4, and then 2, and then 0. Okay? So x equals 10. This is true. It comes here and then becomes 4. And then this is, I'm sorry, not 4, 9. It becomes 8, and then it becomes 5, right? And then x here becomes 4, and then it prints 4 here, right? Then it comes back and says 4 is not greater than 5, right? And then it would do this. Let's print it. Wait, this is not. Am I missing something here?
You need a sys out in the do loop. No? I don't think it's going to execute.
It's printing 4, but it's not looping anymore.
It's not going to print 4 because
It's printing 4 here. It's here.
that part of this. I thought it was part of the.
Yeah. It only prints 4 because this guy here.
Yeah, because when it comes back, right? 4.
That's right. So because I put the wrong number.
Greater than 5. Yeah.
Put the wrong number is here, 0. So this is true. 10 is greater than 0. So it comes here.
It's going to stay in the do loop until, right? It's going to stay in the do loop until it gets x is greater.
When it gets 5.
Gets 5. And then it gets out of the do loop.
And then it gets 4.
It's going to execute the rest until the number is great. It's what, greater than 0? Yeah.
Yeah. So here, x would be 4. It prints 4. So it comes back here. 4 is greater than 0. It enters again. And then it's to strat 1, right? That will be 3, right? And then 3 is not greater than 5. It goes out. It becomes 2. And it prints 2, right? And then it comes back here. And 2 is greater than 0. Then it enters here. And it becomes 1. 1 is not greater than 5. It comes out, becomes 0, and then prints 0. And when it gets back here, 0 is not greater than 0, and it exits the entire loop. That's why we get 4, 2, and 0. Okay, let me just print something here like sys out, and then that's gonna give me the 4 numbers. Okay, 4, 2, 0. So you guys understand it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. It's not difficult. Okay, so that's the explanation here. Okay, that's the explanation. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay. Good. Let's see another guy. Let's see another guy now. And this guy is going to be ArrayList. ArrayList. It's a little more powerful than an array, and it has other methods that array doesn't have. Okay. And of course, as soon as I declare the first array list, it's going to import the ArrayList class. Okay. So let's do our dear friend, the main. And let's say ArrayList, right? You see? I don't know why I imported this guy. Let's say ArrayList. Okay. ArrayList, that's the one that it has to import. Okay. And then say my list. Okay. New ArrayList. And then we have to use that. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Okay. This is the raw way. This is the raw way. This is the good way. You have to use the diamond operator. Okay. Diamond operator. This is the raw way. All right. So I will use it this way. Right. I'll show you the diamond operator later. Now we have an array list of type, okay, of type object, okay, of type object. We can put types in an array list, okay. We can specify the type. We can say string, you know, or we can say integer. You have to use the wrapper classes, okay, or you can use a double, right, or you can use a float, right, or you can use Boolean. Okay. In this case, we're going to use an object to be more specific. Not to be more specific, to be more general, to accept any type of object. Okay. So now I'm going to say ArrayList, right? And then we're going to use this guy. Okay. As we have a type here, let me give it a name, my list2. Okay. As I have this type here, I have to use, you know, this is the raw way. I better use this guy, the diamond operator. Okay. Now I can have an array of another object, but in this case, going to be of the string class. Okay. So here we're going to have an array list, a list of strings and a list of objects here. So I can say list, right, equals new array list, right? Good. So that's an array list of strings. We can have another array list, right, of strings, okay, and list2, and then new array list. So we can do this, right, as well if you want to, but you don't need it, right? It's not necessary because you can have this guy here just to use, you see, explicit type argument string can be replaced with the diamond operator. So this is just fine. Okay. Now we can have list string list3 new array list, and then this. Guys, you see a difference here? You see a difference here?
Yes.
We're using an interface list, okay? And this is more common than this, okay? So you can use this list thing as an interface instead of using ArrayList. That's okay too, okay? So this one uses the diamond operator. And this one uses the list interface. Okay. You see, public interface list. Okay. Now, let's see something that does not compile. Okay, we can put list string list4 equals new list this does not compile. Okay, it says cannot infer arguments. The problem is that even if you do this, I still get an error because, guys, list is abstract, cannot be instantiated. You cannot create an object of a list. Okay, so you can go from an array to a list, right? But not from an array list to a list. Not here. Okay, you can go from an array list to a list, but not from a list to an array list. Okay, so this one does not compile. So you have to do it this way. List here the interface, and then use the interface here. Here you just using the array list for an interface. No, that does not compile. Okay. Now I can create a list of string, right? And then here I can call it list5 and say new array list, and we're gonna give it a size of 20. Okay, so the good thing about this guy list is that it's resizable. Okay, okay, so here we have a size, and by the way, you say this out, and we say list dot size, okay, and then of course it's gonna be 0, and you have to print this guy here. So we get 0 because we don't have element inside. Even though you have this 20 here, it means that the capacity of this array list, of this list, is 20. But it's resizable, guys. That is the initial capacity that I give it. It can have less, it can have more. Okay? The size is 0. Okay? Now, if I add something here, if I add, I can say list5, that add, remember, it's a string, it's a list of strings, so I have to add string. So in this case, name, right? Okay, so now if I run this again, but after I add it, I can see that the size is still 0. Oh, it's list5, not list. You see, the size was 0 first and then 1. If I continue adding more and more, right? If I add another one here, and I said this is going to be last name, right? Then I'm going to have a different size here, right? And then I get 2. So this is resizable. Maybe if I remove the second element, which is 1, right? And index 1, and I do size here again, I can see that the size goes back to 1. So it's resizable. Things that we cannot do with an array. An array has a fixed size. You cannot add, you cannot remove. It's a fixed size. With a list of objects here, you can have as many things as you want. So with this guy here, you see this is an object array, a list of objects. I can say my list 2, right? I can say my list 2, add, I can add to the S key, and I can say my list 2, and I can add a number. It doesn't matter, okay? Because this one is more flexible. It has an object here. It means that any type of object can be added to the list. Here, I have a string. So I'm being here specific. I can only add strings. If I try to add a number to this list 5, and I say here 5, I get an error because I'm specifying here that what I want for the list is arrays. But with the object class here, I can have anything I want. So if I want to print my list 2, right? And then I do this, I get Dunieski M4. So that's the good thing about lists. They are very flexible. They can accept any type of objects when we have the object here, type, okay? Or you can be more specific and accept only integers or only double or only strings, okay? Good. You guys understand it?
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see here, array lists are much more powerful than arrays. Okay. Good. So now let's talk about the methods of arrays. Okay. Array list. So let's have another class and let's name it using array list methods, part number 1. Okay. PSVM. I can say list new array list. Okay. So I can do this, but look, the problem, we have a raw use of parameterized class list, okay? Because we're not using a type or anything like something here to make it more, much better. It's just raw, okay? That's not good. So we're going to just comment that out, okay? Now let's have a list of objects like we did before, right? Objects. And let's call it list, right? So this is a better practice here. New array list, okay? So now I can start adding things here. So like I said before, you have an object, so it can accept any type of object, any type of types, right? Any types. We say list add, and then we're gonna add dog, right? We can say list add, and we can just do 5, right? Sys out list, okay? And then we get, let me have to print this. And then we get dog 5. Another way to print that list is by saying for object, remember that whatever I have here is an object. I can say object O in list, right? I can say this out O. Okay. Let me hash it into body. Okay, I put an extra thing here. So that's another way that you can print that dog in 5. Okay, I have put an extra semicolon here, and that makes this code unreachable. Okay, that's why it doesn't recognize those. I cannot resolve this, my object, because basically the code ends here, and it doesn't reach. It doesn't get this help. Let this reach the other code. So I put here my object because remember what I have in the list is object. If I had string here, I would put string here. Okay, but I have an object, and then I give it a name, object, any name you want, and then print it, and then you get this a little better than before. All right. So that is one example. We can have another example, say list, and then list of strings, right? And then we can say pets equals new array list. Okay. I can say pets, add dog. And then we can say string pets. Right? Very simple. Right? And I got dog here. Right? Guys, if you don't want to get these square brackets, you have to do a for loop to be able to get it like this. Dog in 5. Okay? Like, for example, I just remove this ln and I get here dog and 5. Okay? Of course, I have to leave a space here between objects, and probably I have to use another sys out here to be able to leave a space between the one print and the other. Okay? Good. Let me add another one. Okay? But this time I'm going to add pets, right? Add. This time I'm going to use another way, right? So we can have something here, index, int index, and then the element that you're adding, right? You can add only one element, or you can add, in this case, it tells you it's an integer, it's a string, because remember that the list is a list of strings. We can have the index and then the string that we're adding. So we can use this one, right? And then we can say we want to add in index 0, we want to add cat. Okay? We can do that. And then we print this again, cats, not cats, pets, right? And then we can see that our new array has a cat. Okay? Maybe you want to add another one. You can, an index, probably index 1 and 2. I want to add tiger. And then I can do this, right? And then when I print this, I get a tiger. So it's a very flexible list. It's resizable. That's the good thing about that. It's resizable. Okay. Now we can add maybe pets, add, and then number one, I want to add a parrot, not a parrot. I want to add probably in number 0, I want to add husky. Okay. And then pets, add. In number 1, I want to add bird, a bird. Okay, bird. Okay, bird. And then if I print sysal pets, then I can see that I have a little different list. Okay. Now maybe I want to remove one element. So I can say pets remove, and then I can say parrot. Okay. And if I print sysal pets again, right, I can get a different list here that doesn't have the parrot. Okay. Or maybe I want to remove.
I have a question.
One moment. Want to remove an element by the index, and then I print this, I get pets. And then I see that the one that was before, now I removed cat. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so can you move up just a bit?
Yes.
So here we have pet, and we're indexing the information. So we're telling that index 0 is cat,
Okay.
2 is tiger, 1 is parrot, 0 is husky, and 1 is bird. When you printed index 1, it's twice, but it prints both of them.
Because he moved.
What do
Okay.
you mean he moved
0
it?
is cat, right?
I'm confused.
0 is
Uh-huh.
cat. 0 is cat. It was dog before, and I add 0, cat. Second time I add tiger in number 3, element 3, which is index 2, right?
Uh-huh.
The other one, I'm just putting parrot in number 1. Okay. So 0, 1.
After cat. After the cat, parrot. But when you add.
Yeah, but remember,
index
I also added husky and bird.
Exactly.
So what it does, it moves it to the right.
Move it.
So first, before I didn't print after I added parrot. Okay. So number 1, it put parrot, but you don't see it because I don't print it, right?
Can you print it out?
Yes. Yes. I can print it every time 1.
The element move it to the next index.
Yes. It moves
you add.
It just moves it over. Okay. So now I see this.
Okay, let's see. Where are we? Index pet element cat. Okay. So why is it cat and dog? Have we added something to this before?
When I added tiger was here.
Yes. Okay,
tiger was here, right? Then I added parrot. Parrot was here, element 1. Then I added husky in 0. Husky is 0, but it moves parrot to the number 2, right? And then I added bird, and bird was put in 1. Cat is moved to the left, to the right, and parrot is moved to the left, to the right.
Oh, I see. So it's not doing a replacement. It's doing an add all the time.
It doesn't replace it. It just moves it to the right.
Even though I'm declaring the index location.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't replace it. It moves it. It just remove it from that side and moves it to the right.
Exactly. Add and replacer are different.
Yeah.
Add is add and replacer is replacer.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but here you have the same index. I guess the confusion is you have the same index number, right? So you have index 1 element parrot and you have index 1 element bird. Since you're using the same index location,
Okay.
my thought will be that it will replace it, but it's not doing that. It's basically adding it and
Okay.
pushing the other content somewhere else.
So let's see. Moving, okay, inserting bird
Uh-huh.
at position 0, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Ah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. Setting Maria, wait, there's an error here. I forgot the S here. All right. So now insert Maria at position 4. Wait. There's has to be copied over. Okay. So inserting Maria at position 4, right here.
Yep. 2, 3, 4. Yep.
It doesn't replace. Replaces, remove it and put 1 in its place. No, it just moves it to the right. Okay. When you
So what
search,
it's doing is it's actually putting the object in that index location.
then moves
That
the other
element
one.
in, but it moves the other one, push it to the right.
Correct. Correct. That's what's happening.
Hi, this could be used for multiplexing.
Yeah. So now I can have another guy. This is the one that replaces it. Okay. So we can say pets set, and then we say 0 to Dunieski. Let's see what happens. Okay. And then I print pets. Right. Let's see what happens. So right now, let's leave a space here so you guys can see it better and say setting position 0 to Dunieski. All right. So let's see. That's the one that replaces it. You see that it was Bird before, and now it's Dunieski.
It is set.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I do this? What if I do this? What's going to happen?
Add the 6th position.
Okay. Index out of bounds because we are setting, we're not adding. So index 6 doesn't exist. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So we cannot set something in a place that doesn't exist.
Mm.
Right? We can add something and it would be added to number 6 position. But we cannot set something in a place that doesn't exist yet. Now, if I add if I add this, maybe here another animal, right? And I said add lizard, right? And let me just comment this out, okay, before I replace it. So now I don't have anything because I didn't print it. Let me print it. So now I can see that the lizard is there, right? Now I have 6 indexes, or 5 indexes, but 6 positions. So now I can add that. Let me comment this out because I already added it. So let me replaces it. And then now it works. Oh, because I have to run it again? Is that what you want? Okay, no problem. So now I'm gonna add it. Yeah, because this doesn't persist. So I have to run it every time. Okay, now it does work. Okay, it does work. If I remove this guy, remember this doesn't persist, right? So if I remove this, lizard doesn't exist. I have to run the program again and add lizard. This is not persisting. I don't have a database that contains this information. Okay, good. So I think it's good. Adding a lot of elements here. Right. Let's create another class and let's continue with the methods. But this time it's going to be using array list method 2. Right. Using array list methods 2. Okay. So one word. Okay. So now we have PSVM, our friend. Okay. So we have another list, right? And this list is going to be of strings. And then we're going to call it pets again. Okay. Equals new array list. And then we have this. Perfect. Now we're going to say system out pets is empty. What do you think this is, guys? What do you think is this? It's a method, but it returns a Boolean, right? So right now, this string or this array is empty. So it should return true right here, right? So we're printing a Boolean value. And this Boolean value is, true because it's empty. But what if I add something to the list? So I can say pets add dog. We should not return true now. False, because it already has something. Okay, so that's another method for lists. So this returns true because there's nothing inside. We have another one. We saw that already. We say pets.size, and then this guy's going to give us 0 because there's nothing inside. So if I print this, we get 0. So returns 0. It's empty, right? If this is true, it means that this is 0, right? So now we say if pets is empty, we can print something. And we can say sysout no pets. Do you think this is going to print? This is going to print? Do you think so?
Yes.
Yes, of course. This is always true. If you hover over it, it tells you it's always true, right? Because it's empty. So no pets, right? Now I can say if pets size is pet size equals 0, I can say sysout no pets. So I can say here that this returns no pets because it's 0. This is true. But now if I add something like pets add, and I want to add cat, right? And now if I print these two guys again, right? Then we have a different ball game. So we get false in 1, right? So this returns false, and this returns 1. Okay? We already have 1 element in the list, so the size is 1. And it's empty becomes false because we have 1 element there. But what if we do, guys, let me just make something clear here. We use the add guy. We use the remove guy here. Remove, right? We use the set guy here. The set method, right? So we use 3 methods here, methods. Right now we're using isEmpty. And here we're using size. And here we're using another one now, and now we're going to use the method clear. Okay, so we're going to say pets like clear. So guys, what do you think is going to happen? If we do this guy here again, then we're going to get this guy here, and we get true and 0 again, because I empty the list. Okay, so this guy empties the list. Okay, so if I print the list now and I say sysal pets, I'm gonna get a very beautiful output. This square brackets here, there's nothing. Okay, but now I want.
I have a question.
Go
Can
ahead.
you test for the opposite? In other words, can you say system out print ln not equal or?
ln, like if it is clear?
No, pets dot is empty. If it's empty, it's always going to be true. What about if you want to test for the false?
Oh, the opposite? Oh, like
Uh-huh.
if it is like this,
Can you do a negation? Can you do a negation?
like this? List, pet. Is
Pet
that
dot,
like that?
that's it.
Okay. And then say sysout. Yes, pet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in this case, we're going to have negative because it's clear. But let's put it here. Okay. So do this, and then we get yes best.
Okay, so it is possible. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Now let's do another one. Let's add a pet, right? And let's add probably dog.
So in exam, the question will come like this. We have to just give the answer, right? We don't have to write all those.
They give you a code, and then you have to select the correct answer.
Oh, okay. We don't have to write the code.
Yeah, but no.
Oh, okay.
But don't underestimate the exam. It's not gonna be this easy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we add the dog, and then we say sysout. Pets contains dog, and sysout. Pets contains cat. Guys, what do you think this is going to return? What kind of value this is? What kind of type is this? What is this?
Is it a true or false?
Yeah, it's a Boolean.
It's a
Okay.
Boolean, yeah. Mhm.
True or false? Okay. Pets contains dog. True, because I added here. Pet contains cat. False. I haven't added cat yet. Okay. Okay. Let me add another list of strings, and let me call it new pets. Okay. And then new array. And let me say new pets, add cat. Well, actually dog. Okay. And let me say sys out pets equals new pets. What do you think? I have dog here and I have dog here. What do you think? Let me print it. I get true because the two arrays are the same, right? Remember that the equals method, what does it do? It checks what? What does it check?
The content.
The content, right? They have the same. Now, if I add something else here, probably cat. Okay. If I add probably cat here, right? Cats. So this returns true, right? This returns true, and this one returns false. Okay. What if I add cat and now I do the same thing? Now, when I do this, I get false because they don't have the same content. Okay. I just added an element to new pets that pets doesn't have. Okay. Now let me add pets add cat that. Let me say one moment. Say pets that add and then say 0 that cat. Okay. And now when I do that, let me just print pets, right? And then say pets, and let me print new pets, right? New pets, and then new pets, right? If I print that, I have cat. Well, did I add cats? Where did I add cats? I was supposed to add cats here, not cats. Okay, so now I have pets, cat, and dog. Okay. Okay, so if I do this, guys, what do you think I'm gonna get? If I just compare them, what do you think I'm gonna get?
False.
Why? If I have the same elements.
But the positioning of them.
Correct. The position is not the same. So they have to have the same elements and the same positions. So size and elements are equal, but the order of the elements is not equal. So that's very important, guys. Okay. Got it? Do you guys have any questions?
Nope.
Well, that's all I've got for you today, guys. I think that we cover a lot. We
Yes,
see
you did.
we see continuous statement, we saw array list, we saw multidimensional arrays, nested loops, searching arrays, sorting arrays, using array methods 1 and 2, and variable arguments. So we saw a lot of, all the ones that you see here that are orange are the ones that we saw today.